All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we have a Boston Celtics video for you guys. I know the Robert Williams injury is a little doggy, but I think the Celtics will be just fine, and I'm going to explain why in today's video. If you guys are new here, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button for Celtics content along with daily NBA content. Celtic Nation, if we could get this video to 100 likes, that would be awesome. But if you guys have been watching me for a while, you know my thoughts on Boston. I think they are actually the most likely team to get out of the Eastern Conference on the Eastern side, obviously Eastern Conference. So why? Well, number one, they have the second best defense in the entire NBA. The really good news is Robert Williams' injury, when it was announced that he was going to be out for about 4 to 6 weeks a handful of days ago, Boston was optimistic that he would fall on the shorter side of the timeline. So the playoffs don't start for another 2.5 weeks, right? So we got about 16 days until then. Injury news came out a few days ago. I would imagine game 1, game 2, game 3 at the latest is when Robert Williams will be coming back for Boston. But I'm looking at this, I'm like, obviously Robert Williams, if you guys have been watching, I call him the most underrated player in the NBA every single time because that's what he is. But Boston has the highest point differential by a team in their last 30 games with a 420 point differential. So not only has been Boston just winning games, they've been blowing teams out, completely blowing them out. And so obviously Robert Williams is a huge reason to it. But he's just a piece of the puzzle, right? He's just a piece of the puzzle. I think Boston, although they have lost their last 2 games, I would imagine that changes tonight against Indiana by the time a lot of you guys watch this video. Like, Boston can get by without Robert Williams. They have plenty of pieces to fill in for him. That's what makes Boston, to me, such a talented team is you have guys like Grant Williams, you have guys like Daniel Tice who can pick up the slack for a handful of weeks, a handful of basketball games until Robert Williams comes back. That 420 point differential in this last month, the next highest was Memphis with a 284 point differential. So, we'll talk a little bit more about Robert Williams' stats here in just a second. There's always something my eye want to make these damn videos, every single time. Boston, pretty much though, come playoff time, you're maybe not heavily reliant, but like that's when you have guys like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown take over basketball games. That's what that is for. Boston, when Jason Tatum scores over 30, is 22-5. They're just 22-5. So if Tatum's going to go off, it doesn't matter what else is going on as long as players are chipping away and playing defense because they're the number 2 ranked defense. So that's a huge reason, I would say, is with Boston, you just know you're getting phenomenal team defense. Robert Williams is a huge piece, though. He's a huge piece. The good news is, like I said, they're eager he's going to be on the shorter end of it, the shorter time frame, because in his last 5 games, he had 12 blocks, he had 42 rebounds, he was 22 of 26, 5-0 record, positive plus minus in every game. Like, he's a stud, bro. He's legitimately a stud, and as I was mentioning earlier, every video I talk about Robert Williams, I have to just throw in that I think he's the most underrated player in the NBA because I don't think people fully understand how efficient he is on offense and how much room there is for potential and growth. But then on defense, like, this guy is a certified stud on the defensive end. Boston, I'll say this. Boston, if they didn't have Robert Williams for the rest of the season, I don't think they would win the championship. I really don't think they would win the championship. But, you can say that about so many different basketball teams, like, that would be missing such a critical player. Look at the way I view Robert Williams almost is like Draymond Green of the Celtics, right? Draymond Green missed 2.5 months, and look at what happened to Golden State. They went from the number 1 ranked defense to the 4th seed. They look like, are they even going to get past the first round? Like, you could argue, is Golden State even getting past the first round? So Boston, I think their team's just a little bit different this year. I think they're a lot more. I think they're a lot more balanced. They're a lot more spread out. Like I said, that Daniel Tice acquisition at the trade deadline was absolutely huge. And you traded. I mean, I can't imagine any Celtics fans are looking back at that trade and saying, "Damn, I wish we still had Schroeder." Like, Derek White was such an upgrade; it is unbelievable. Peyton Pritchard's been filling in well off the bench as well, and like I said, you have Grant Williams kind of getting inserted into the starting lineup. We'll see if that sticks. But Grant Williams can 100% hoop, and also you're going to see a little bit more Aaron Nesmith with this injury to Robert Williams. 2.2 blocks. He's second in most blocks average per game with 2.2. Jaren Jackson, Triple J, was number 1 with 2.3. But, like I said, man, right now Boston's a 3 seed. All right, you're the 3 seed. Chicago is suffering, man. They're the 5 seed. Number 4, you have Philadelphia, who's a really talented team, but they're struggling right now too. They've lost 3 straight basketball games. So if I'm Boston, I've pretty much exhausted trying to get 1 and 2 seeds. I've pretty much exhausted that. I would literally focus on, obviously winning as many games as you can. Tonight's game, you got Indiana. Like, Boston needs to be able to win this game tonight, which I would imagine they're going to probably blow them out. I think Boston will blow Indiana out tonight. And from there on, you get the wins when they can come. You keep trying to build chemistry. You keep trying to get your players, honestly, getting like almost close to your season peak, right? You're just trying to get the confidence up with so many of these players. I think the Celtics should focus on this bench. I really do think you should focus on guys like Grant Williams, guys like Derek White, Daniel Tice, Peyton Pritchard. Focus on the players who, come playoff time, they're not going to be huge vocal points. Like, it's not going to be Tatum. It's not going to be Brown. Use those 2 guys to help set up your teammates, because come playoff time, you want to rely on those guys. You want to be confident, especially in your more rotational, specific players, guys like Peyton Pritchard. So what I would focus on, literally, if I'm Boston the next couple of games, you got to stay healthy, but most importantly, I would try and get your teammates involved as much and as often as you can with good shots, stuff like that, because Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, they're going to get so much of the defensive respect come playoff time that, driving lanes, they're going to start to close down. Fouls aren't going to get called as much. You might get double. You might see double teams with Tatum. You might see double teams with Jaylen Brown. You might see a lot of trapping. So get your other teammates involved, so when you pass them the basketball, you know that shot's going in. But most importantly, they also know that shot is going in. So that's all I got to say. If you guys enjoyed it, hit the like button, hit that sub button. I post Celtics content pretty much all the time. If you're still watching, I know you would like the channel. So hit that subscribe button, and let's try and get 100 likes. But most importantly, drop some comments down below. What are your thoughts on Robert Williams' injury? Do you think it's going to derail Boston, or are they still your favorite, or whatever the case may be? Peace.